Welcome to the Reality of Prayer, Part 1. What is it? Who does it? Hey, thank you for coming back to From My Standpoint. Now, I have a very special episode for you today. Well, I guess as usual, when I say special, I just mean this might be a little off topic from the others. But then again, that might make all of them special. Does that make me special? I don't know. But whatever. Okay, so this one, in this episode, it's one that many people actually scoff at. They mock and scoff at. And, speaking of scoff, that just makes me laugh because it's such a funny word. Scoff. It sounds like, people say, hey, the Southerners speak with a lazy jaw, which means they barely move the mouth like this. It's barely moving like, a ventriloquist or something. And it just sounds like somebody saying Scott, but with a lazy jaw. So you're like, Skull, hey, Skull, get over here, Skull. Skull, get over here. Where was I going with this?
If you keep your head in the clouds, you will never be grounded.
Well, that's interesting, random voice reason, but... Okay, you're right, though. Okay, that's right. Thank goodness I have some notes here. In this episode, I'm talking about prayer. Yes, prayer. Absolutely prayer.
Is this a religious thing again?
It's funny to me that whenever anyone mentions prayer, our thoughts automatically go to religion for some reason. And we immediately either accept or reject what the person is saying, what the prayer is, or the good words. And we either, like I said, we either accept it or we put up a wall of defense and try to shield ourselves from these good words. But to answer your question, random voice of questions, yes and no. Was that clear enough? Clear as mud, I think, I hope. Let me just say, prayer has been scrutinized and dissected to the best of people's intelligence and abilities, and, it still remains a popular form of communication even today.
Communication is just the transfer of information.
It's correct as usual, random voice of reason. Communication is just the transfer of information. Now, before I go any further, though I do want to add a quick disclaimer here. And this is for all the scoffers and the trolls and the mockers out there who might be listening or watching this. Now, this was originally written more than a decade ago for a speech class I had. And I've, of course, rewritten a little bit of it for the podcast here. But the main thing I wanted to mention is I left the research in there. The research I had for that speech class more than a decade ago. A long time ago. And the reason I left it in there is because the research done on the topic of prayer that I mentioned in here, that was the actual data, the evidence and the facts from that research. And it doesn't change just because time passed. But if you want to know more, then this is where I highly encourage you to do your own independent research. Now, let's get on with this. So, people may try, but no one can truly deny that prayer is performed by just about everyone. Yes, just about everyone, from the highest level apostle to even the most hardcore atheist.
Wait, atheist? Atheists don't pray, do they?
Yeah, I kind of knew this one would bring you back, random voice of questions. But yes, they do blasphemy. Atheists do blasphemy. And I'm sure at some point in our lives we've all, accidentally said some form of blasphemy. But blasphemy, which is assuming things that we don't know about the wishes and or plans of God, or some might say a higher power, or the universe, or, Mother Nature. I don't agree with those, even though sometimes I just joke around and throw that out there, but I don't agree with those. I boldly say God. Yes, the great I am, the God of the Holy Bible, Yahweh.
Blasphemy is actually a form of offensive language, and often it can be a request for ill will to be done.
Absolutely. Did you hear that? Yeah, it's on the ball again, Random Voice of Reason. Blasphemy, such as saying GD, and then you insert the name of the person or thing, and I think you all know what GD is. I'm not going to say it.
If folk done want good things, then folk ought to say good and positive and uplifting things, even in them prayers. If folk don't, then they just confess the negative and bad wishes and them communication over them lives and things. I mean, it's just simple common sense, really. Yup. Speak well, live well. Speak ill, live ill. I mean, folk can't be always expecting good and positive and uplifting things if they always damn God and those things in them life they want good, right?
That was good. Long-winded, but good and valuable perception there, Random Voice of Common Sense. Let me say, you often find what you're looking for. We often find what we're looking for. If we look for fear, we'll find fear. If we look for panic, we'll find panic. If we look for damnation, we'll find damnation. If we look for hope, we'll find hope. If we look for praise, we'll find praise. Such as if you look for negativity, you're going to find negativity. If you look for positivity, you'll find positivity. And I hope I'm doing a good job at changing your perspective for a better understanding with these shows, and that you will start searching for that positivity and that wisdom so you can find that positivity and that wisdom and start living your life with wisdom. So, like prayer is, it's just a conversation. And as Random Voice of Reason mentioned earlier, communication is just the transfer of information. And conversation, it is communication. It's a request to God for the help or praise for someone, or in the term of, the blasphemy, the GD, it's a request for God for the damnation and negativity of another person or place or thing that you're saying after GD. But in essence, it's still just a simple communication prayer. Now, I'll tell you this. I was raised in a Christian home where we prayed every night before bed, and we prayed before every meal. And I was raised to believe in the power of prayer. And I was raised to believe that God was the one true God, Yahweh, and that He heard and answered your prayers. And most of us, I believe, are taught that prayer is powerful, that it is the most powerful weapon against downfall. It's the most effective medicine against sickness and sadness and hopelessness, and it's the most valuable gift we can give someone. A positive prayer, not the blasphemy prayer. Let's get that straight.